Hello people, today we have some Old Republic gameplay and this is just going to be my little review on the Old Republic as it goes free to play, so just bear with me I guess. Alright, now first things first, let's just start with the basic limits and of free to play versus subscribers. Now there's actually three types of players. Limited players are people who never paid for anything basically. Preferred players are people who either were subscribers and aren't subscribed anymore, or have paid for something with cartel coins. Basically, preferred players is just anyone who's given Star Wars any type of money. And then limitless players are people who are continually subscribed or subscribed right now. And obviously they're going to get the best benefit, but let's just say this is basically for new people, not for preferred players. Alright, for new people. When you play this game, you're gonna notice some limitations right off the back. Like you're gonna start playing, and then after you do your first mission, you're gonna notice that there's like a reward that you can't get because you don't have you haven't subscribed or you haven't paid with cartel coins to unlock the rewards. And you're gonna notice that every single time you complete a mission, it constantly tells you, oh, you're getting limited experience because of cartel coins. Not too big stuff, not too bad either. Actually. This is going to sound strange, but I prefer to get less experience. Why? Because once you hit level 50 in this game, I feel like it's just so black. Like it's just almost no point to do bonus missions anymore. Like you see it all the time. Once people hit level 50 in this game, they just run through the story quests because it's like they can't go any higher. Anyway, well, basically, what there are also stuff that I really didn't care about, like flashpoints. Now, flashpoints are brilliant, and I really got to commend BioWare that they gave the flashpoint. Flashpoints are basically missions that are so big that you basically just do them in groups, and doing them, you can't do them by yourself, and they have their own story arc, which is what I love, because it's like you start off, if you're dark-sided, you start off on the Black Talon, and then you move on to other flashpoints which continue from the Black Talon, basically. And that's what I really like. I'm not going to tell you how it ends, but it really ends well. So, other things, only 3 war zones a week. Once again, not a factor to me because I honestly have played this game, but I've never played a war zone. I'm just really in it for the story. Me and my friends, we play the story, and the story alone will keep you for at least a few months. If you're a hardcore MMOer, it'll keep you for a few months. If you're a softcore, it may keep you for a few years, depending on how softcore you are. Anyway, and also limitations on items, which I think is a problem for most people. Not too big a issue to me, once again. I know that it is a problem because when you get to the higher levels, you're going to need certain items to survive, so that's kind of a limitation I really don't like. And then there also is the preferred queue. Basically, if the servers have a wait time, people with subscriptions get in first, no matter what line it is. So that's once again not too big of a problem because these servers aren't usually full. Like some are. The other day there was like 3 servers that were full, but it's very rare for all the servers to be full. All right, so let's move on to what I really want to talk about: limited users. Limited users. There are 2 really big things to me. The big problems with limited users. The big problems are, 1, you only get 1 crew skill. Now, for those of you who don't know, crew skills are basically your partners can all learn 3 different crew skills. Your companion characters. And crew skills are really good because they allow you to build items to your choosing. Like you can build lightsaber crystals, and you can build armor and weapons, and it's just really useful. And the problem with only having 1 is that if you have a crafting skill, you can't craft anything with 1 crew skill unless you buy the items. So the problem with that is if you only have 1, I would recommend for limited users not to buy the items. Not to get a crafting skill. Get like a skill that you can use, like underworld trading that gives you gifts to your companions, or like skills that give you stuff that you could sell. Because really, there's no point in having a skill if you can't use it unless you have to pay credits to buy it. Unless you think you're going to be one of those players that constantly plays this game and gets thousands of credits that you don't need for anything else, I suggest limited users do not get that. And that's really a problem. I hope BioWare fixes it, because crew skills really do add to the game. Like when I first got my crew skill with my Sith, and I decided to do armor, and she made armor that was way beyond my level, basically. It was really nice to have that type of armor on. But this time I've gone, and the biggest problem with not only having one crew skill is that lightsaber upgrades are hard to come by without having the crew skill artifice, which is really helpful. Basically, your companion can make lightsaber crystals, and it's just really good. And without that, you basically just have to settle for whatever lightsaber you get and whatever modifications are on it, because they're really hard to come by. Alright, let's go to my second biggest issue, and which is that you can't trade. That's actually my biggest issue. If you're a limited user, which means if you have never paid anything for this game, you cannot trade, and that is huge if you travel in groups. If you just travel by yourself, fine. You don't need to trade. You can just sell items you don't want and give the rest to your companions. But if you are a person like me who likes to play with his friends and likes to you know, if I get something that I can't use, such as like the other day, I'm getting this double-bladed lightsaber, but I'm this Sith guy, this Sith warrior, so I can't use that. But my friend is an Inquisitor and he can use it, but I can't give it to him because I have a preferred, but he has limited, and limited subscribers cannot participate in trades. So that is a really big problem to me. That is actually the biggest problem with limited subscribers. Without being able to trade items, you have to basically be dead careful when traveling in groups, because you can't get an item and then like when you get it, people are like, oh, that item would be better for me, and then you realize yes it would, but you can't trade it anymore. Plus, trade just really kind of brings the groups together when people are just trading items that others need. And a lot of times I'll trade an item like with my friends. I'll trade an item with my other preferred friends, and it'll be like an item that I don't need anymore, but they're like in a either lower level or they're just at a point where they don't have an item like that, and I'll give it to them, and it's like it just works. But when I'm playing with limited users, it's just terrible that you can't trade, and it's an MMO, for crying out loud. How can you play this without being able to trade items or trade anything? And those are my biggest two issues, basically, with this free-to-play for limited users only, of course, because preferred players like myself are given 2 crew skills. Now, you can survive with 2. True, you prefer 3, but you can survive with 2 because you only need 1 skill to craft and 1 skill to gather what you need to craft. For this guy, he's a Sith warrior, and if you notice, I have a blue lightsaber. Now, to get a blue lightsaber as a Sith is really hard, which I really find... They really downgraded it with Sith because, I mean, it's really boring to just have a bunch of red lightsabers, and I actually have a lot more color lightsabers. But the easiest way to get different color lightsabers with Sith is to simply learn Artifice and Archaeology. So without Archaeology, Artifice is useless. So me having 2 is fine, but limited users, I feel sorry for you, man, because, I mean, you having only 1 and not being able to trade is a big thing. Alright, now that I'm just going to go into a little bit about advice for limited users. Anyone who watches this who is a limited user, here's what I tell you. When you're starting off, first thing, if you decide not to pay, because you can become a preferred user with just $5. That would be my ultimate advice, really. Just pay $5, get 450 cartel coins, buy whatever you want with them, like maybe unlock 3 more another crew skill or something, so you have 3 rather than 2. Or maybe unlock the ability to play with different races, you know, whatever you want to do with it. But basically, just pay $5, get 450 cartel coins, become a preferred player, and then you can participate in trade, and you have at least 2 crew skills, which are the biggest issues for this free-to-play model, in my opinion. Y'all have a different opinion, please leave a comment, I will try to get back to you. Now, if you are a free-play user who is just either dead poor, and if you're dead poor, you wouldn't have a laptop that could run this anyway, but who really doesn't want to pay anything, doesn't want to pay $5. Let's just say you're like a kid who doesn't have a credit card, so you can't like really pay $5 for this even. Then my recommendation to you would be, when you learn be very careful when traveling with groups. Make sure that the item is an item you need, and that your partners couldn't use more than you could. 2, make sure that when you pick your crew skill, even though you can always change it, but do not pick a crafting skill. It's a waste of time if you only have one skill, unless you are willing to pay hundreds of credits. And that's another thing, limited users actually pay more for items, so it really just doesn't make sense. Unless you're willing to pay hundreds of credits to buy the items necessary to build these things, it's just useless. And so my advice to you would be to get a crew skill like Underworld Trading, which is just a crew skill that gives you items that you can use, like gifts to your companions or small tokens, or sometimes you can even get earpieces from Underworld Trading and stuff like that. So or even treasure hunting. Treasure hunting would be useful too. But do not get a collecting skill, because without a crafting skill that makes no sense. Do not get a crafting skill, because without a collecting skill that makes no sense. Alright, and then with the issue of being able to trade, really, just be careful. That's all you gotta do. Just make sure that the item you get is an item you need, not an item that someone else needs. Alright, and my last advice to limited users, if you really do not want to pay to become a preferred player, pick very carefully with your basic. You only get 2. Now, if you're a preferred player like me, who has 13 characters, I actually have 2 different accounts, but I have 13 characters altogether, and I was able to keep them all, and I have at least one character from every single class, so I have no worries, basically. I don't have any motivation to pay to play. But for limited users who are only going to get 2 characters, please be careful with who you choose, even though you can always delete it later. You don't want to keep playing the starter planets over and over again. It just gets boring. So that's basically what I had to say about the free-to-play model. There is one little thing about it, though. The free-to-play model, the cartel coins. Now, I'm not going to go too deep into this because I want to do this in another video, but I'm just going to basically say this. Cartel coins make sense. Why? Because BioWare needs to make money. And the only way to do that, if it goes free-to-play, is to have a currency where you buy, and then you buy it with digital in the game. So let's face it, you need cartel coins. People, if you have a different opinion, please leave it in the comment. But to me, cartel coins just make sense. So people, stop complaining about it, please. The cartel market is wonderful in the fact that you can pay $5 for a 450 pack, a pack of 450 cartel coins, and then you can just buy whatever you want without that. And that's actually a lot, because you can actually get a lot of unlocks with 450 cartel coins. So with $5, you can get like more flashpoints, more war zones, stuff like that. Anyway, this video is coming to an end here. So basically, y'all just subscribe, comment, do whatever you want. I have another video coming up, which is gonna basically just be focused on the new features of the free-to-play option, like the cartel market, and it's just going to basically just give advice to players about the cartel market, like which ones are the best to spend your coins on. So if you're interested in that, just leave a comment, like, subscribe, and have a nice day, everybody. But one more thing before I go. If you haven't played Swtor yet, give it at least a shot. I know a lot of people, this game is getting a lot of flack. Why? Because it just came out and it had such a hype and it didn't exactly match it. But seriously, give it a try. Thank you, and God bless. So